We are back with another Dynasty waiver wire heading into week 8 of the fantasy football season, the NFL season. We're already halfway through the fantasy football regular season for most people. Week 14 is the last week of the regular season. We just finished week 7. Can't believe it's going by this fast. But we're back with another Dynasty waiver wire show here. And we're kicking it off with the quarterbacks like always. Only one guy here that I have a graphic of, that's DTR. Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Don't think he's really out there in most Superflex leagues, but in case he is, should be picking him up, even if Jameis Winston is going to be, the starter for the team. DTR should still be rostered, could still have value. He does have a rushing floor as well, which is always good for fantasy football. So you know how it is in Dynasty and in Superflex. Every single quarterback is valuable. Starting quarterback is valuable. He had 44 rushing yards on 3 attempts in last week's game. So DTR needs to be out there. Another one I want to throw out there, I don't have a graphic of, but if either Jimmy Garoppolo or Stetson Bennett are out there, I would be grabbing them going I think there's an outside chance, and I've heard rumors going around that potentially Matthew Stafford is going to be traded, which would be kind of crazy. But if he is, Garoppolo and Stetson Bennett are there. So I don't know who they would go with. Maybe they'd go with Garoppolo. Maybe they try out Stetson Bennett and see what they got. But always think about, with his trade deadline coming up in a couple of weeks here, just think about players who, if someone gets traded, who could potentially increase in value. On to the running backs here. I have several running backs as always, some usual ones that we've been seeing. Tyler Goodson, he's been on my list for the last 3 weeks now. Ever since Jonathan Taylor got hurt, I've been talking about Tyler Goodson. You should be picking him up if he was out there. And I know he was out there a lot in a lot of leagues. But, Tyler Goodson has been good the last 3 weeks. 8.7, 10.5, and 11.1 in PPR. Like, that is flex worthy in these deeper leagues, right? That's definitely flex worthy in some of these deeper leagues. I mean, for these last 3 weeks, he's the RB26. So he's just outside of being a low end RB2 in PPR leagues. So I don't know if Jonathan Taylor is going to be back. If he's not, I'm fine with firing up Gibson, who honestly just looks better than Sermon. He just looks much better than Trey Sermon. So Cody Schrader is a guy I've been talking about a lot, a Rams guy. Again, he's on one of those teams where I kind of want to roster all the running backs on that team. He's on their active roster, so I want to have them because whoever's the lead running back for the Rams is going to put up massive points, in my opinion. Now, he's RB4. He's behind Ronnie Rivers and Blake Corum and of course, Kyron. This is someone that I want to be rostering. He's a rookie that some people liked coming out of the draft, and he went to San Francisco, now is on the Rams, and he's been on their active roster basically all season. Julius Chestnut. Keep bringing his name up. If you didn't know, he's the RB3 for the Tennessee Titans. Titans want to run the hell out of the ball. That's about the only thing offensively they can do. Tony Pollard has had a good year, but you look at the carries for Tony Pollard, 22, 17, 16. Tajay Spears is already beat up. I think he's just, he's not super serious, but, he's I don't think he played last week. I'm just double checking here. No, he didn't play, or he didn't record any stats last week. Maybe he misses another week. Julius Chestnut didn't really play much. I think he had like 10, 12% of the snaps. But if something were to happen to Pollard with Tajay Spears already hurt, then you're looking at Julius Chestnut potentially being the RB1. I don't know much about him. He's been in the league for a few years. I think he has like a total of like 20 career carries, but he's definitely someone to be picking up, because I see the path for him to be fantasy relevant. Just got the update. Jameis is going to be the starter. So DTR still worth an ad. Hassan Haskins, another guy I've been talking about on this list. Chargers are another one of those teams. I want to roster all the running backs that are on the active roster. J.K. Dobbins is already rostered. Gus Edwards, who's on IR, already rostered. Kamani Vidal, a rookie, already rostered. Hassan Haskins might be the only one who's not rostered. And, if something were to happen to J.K. Dobbins, who's never been the picture of good health, potentially, we could be seeing Hassan Haskins getting an expanded workload, and it wouldn't surprise me one bit. Sione Vaki, another guy I constantly bring up here. The Lions, another team I want all the running backs on their active roster. Sione Vaki might be rostered. Obviously, Gibbs and Montgomery are rostered. Vaki might be because he's a rookie. Craig Reynolds is another one for the Lions that I want to be rostering. He's actually technically the RB3. Sione Vaki is the RB4, according to the depth chart. Now, if something were to happen to those other guys, who knows what would the workload would be. But definitely want to be rostering Sione Vaki and Craig Reynolds as well. Dearness Johnson, we don't know how long this injury for Travis Etienne is going to linger. But if it does continue to linger, you're going to see, obviously Tank Bigsby have an expanded role, but you're going to see Dearness Johnson, who had 12 touches against the Patriots. 3 of them were catches. If you're getting 12 touches with 3 or 4 of them as catches, you're going to be start worthy for some weeks, right? You get 6, you give me 70 total yards with 3 catches in these deeper fantasy leagues. Like, you'll take that. You'll take that. You'll take those 10 PPR points from Dearness Johnson. So, he could be a start this week if you're desperate this week and looking for someone. Dearness Johnson, Tyler Goodson, these guys could be started next week, in my opinion, along with potentially Pierre Strong Jr. Pierre Strong on the Browns. Obviously, Nick Chubb is back. They're probably going to ease him in just a little bit. Now, Pierre Strong only had 4 touches, but he can catch the ball. He could be one of these guys that gets 10 touches with 3 catches. It's possible. Not saying it's going to happen, but it's definitely possible. Nick Chubb, he did come back. He didn't play as much, obviously missing an entire year off a major injury. 36% of the snaps for Nick Chubb. Pierre Strong, let's see what his snap percentage was. Pierre Strong was 50% of the snaps, and then I assume Deontay Foreman kind of filled in the gaps there. I would assume Deontay Foreman 13%. So basically how I look at it is they're going to slowly ramp Chubb up. And so I would assume Chubb's going to be probably no more than 50% of the snaps. So I expect 35 to 40% for Pierre Strong. And who knows what that means, right? Who knows what that means with Jameis Winston as their quarterback. Rasheen Ali, a rookie that I really liked coming out of college, has been hurt a lot to begin the year. I think he started the year on IR, but he's on the Baltimore Ravens, in case you didn't know. Obviously, they have Derrick Henry, who is a freak and who is a future Hall of Famer and who is absolutely breaking fantasy once again. But if something were to happen to Derrick Henry, I think it's possible that Rasheen Ali, I think it's obviously Justice Hill is like the next up in line, but I think there's a good chance that Justice Hill's role just doesn't change at all. And Rasheen Ali comes in and takes a little bit more of those early down work, with Justice Hill basically retaining his role. We see that a lot happen in the NFL. We think, like this guy who's playing, 30% of the snaps and catching passes with the other starter, if that starter were to get hurt, then this guy must be next in line. And then a lot of times it's like, no, that running back, that's his role. So they bring up the RB3, who now becomes the RB1 with the RB2 retaining his role. So that could happen here. I wouldn't be surprised with Justice Hill if that were to happen, if something were to happen to Mr. Derrick Henry. Jermichael Hasty is another one where Antonio Gibson got beat up in that game. I think he left the entire game, if I remember correctly. He might have gotten hurt early in that game. Let's see here. 3 carries on Sunday, suffers injury on New England's first drive. Let's see what snap percentage Antonio Gibson played, but he didn't touch the ball really. He had 4 touches, 3 carries and a catch. Antonio Gibson, he played in 17% of the snaps, whereas Jermichael Hasty, he had 2 carries and 5 catches. And we've seen Jermichael Hasty in the past be a pass catcher. So if you're desperate in PPR leagues and Antonio Gibson's going to miss a game, Jermichael Hasty could also be someone that you could potentially be starting. Into some wide receivers, Jalen Coker, been talking about him for a while. Now he's earning starting and playing time for the Panthers, which is impressive for an undrafted rookie who played at Holy Cross. So it's impressive to see. Now his numbers aren't necessarily showing up, but he's playing 53, 65, 51% of the snaps. So that just shows you the guy's probably pretty talented. It might be some time until he actually does something for you in fantasy, but I definitely like to I like to see guys who are undrafted kind of earn a role like that. Patrick Taylor, I should have had him with the running back section. I've been talking about him all year. San Francisco. I won all the San Francisco running backs. Jordan Mason got a little beat up. Jordan Mason came back, but we're still going to be a couple weeks without CMC. If something happens to Jordan Mason, people think it's going to be Isaac Garendo, but maybe it's actually going to be Patrick Taylor, and they're going to need to lean on the run game a little bit more now. Chris Connolly, I assume with Ayuk going out with an injury, Debo might miss this week because they're on a bye the following week. I assume guys like Juwan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall are on rosters, and even Jacob Coing. He's probably on rosters. He was a fourth round pick rookie. Chris Conley might be the only one who's not on the roster who might see an expanded role in the offense. So I'll pick him up just because, if a guy's out there 50, 60% of the snaps, especially in like best ball leagues, he's going to have some value, right? He's going to catch a touchdown every now and then. So Chris Conley is someone that it's probably going to benefit from the Ayuk injury. Kayshon Boutte, I mentioned him last week. He's probably on a lot of rosters, but he's playing a lot for the Patriots. He has a couple big catches. He's kind of a down the field guy, but he's a former college guy who had a lot of hype around him coming in, and we can see maybe him develop with Drake May a lot, but he's playing a lot. 83% of the snaps each of the last 2 weeks. So anyone who's running out that many routes is going to be valuable. Isaiah Williams, someone we haven't really talked about. He's on the Detroit Lions, undrafted free agent. They love this guy. He kind of projects as like a slot guy. He's super tough across the middle. Just someone, this is more for the future, 2025 and beyond. Don't see him doing much this year, but he's a guy that's intriguing. His film is intriguing. His underlying numbers are intriguing, and the Lions love this guy. So, I don't think he's going to be worth much. They have Tim Patrick, Khalif Raymond, obviously Amon-Ra Jameson, who is suspended for 2 games, but just someone that potentially, if you want a deeper stash for the future, he's one. Simi Fehoko, I think I'm saying that right, is out there a lot for the Chargers. No DJ Shark, no Quentin Johnston, and Fajoko's out there. He played 92% of the snaps against Arizona, had 6 targets, 3 catches, and 45 yards. Chargers were throwing the ball more than maybe we expected. Justin Herbert just threw for 350 yards, and Justin Herbert's capable of doing that week in and week out. If they're going to continue to throw the ball 35 plus times, and these are the only guys out there catching passes, they're going to have some value every now and then, as gross as it is, right? We don't want to see Fehoko getting 6 targets necessarily, but that's just the nature of the Chargers offense, the state of the Chargers offense right now. Sterling Shepard, again, Mike Evans, probably they said that he's going to be out until after their bye in week 11. Chris Godwin's done for the year. Obviously I assume Jalen McMillan's already out there and rostered. If he's not, he's an obvious must add. Trey Palmer is another guy I assume is probably rostered in most of these deeper dynasty leagues. If not, go and pick him up. Sterling Shepard might be someone who's not rostered as much, and he may fill the Godwin slot role, and the other 2 guys are playing on the outside. There's a good chance that that Sterling Shepard does fill that Godwin role. Now, is he going to put up Godwin production? No, but he's going to be in that slot role and get a lot of easy catches. So he was already playing 65, 68, 75% of the snaps the 3 weeks prior to this game against Baltimore. So I think Sterling Shepard could be a sneaky ad here. DJ Turner, and sorry if you're watching this, I did make a mistake on the 40-yard time. DJ Turner, the cornerback, runs a 40-4-2. DJ Turner, the wide receiver, does not. But DJ Turner, the wide receiver for the Raiders, with Devontae Adams out and gone, Jacoby Myers is beat up. DJ Turner is playing a lot. DJ Turner is playing 95% of the snaps last week against the Rams. So he has a role for this offense. 7 targets, now only 2 catches, 13 yards, but 7 targets. Again, deeper dynasty league guys, like this is some value here. He does return punts and kicks as well. So if you get stuff for there, that's pretty good too. Into the tight ends to finish up. We actually have several tight ends here. Cade Stover is someone I've been talking about. He might be out there. He's slowly getting more and more playing time. He's a rookie, 4th-round pick, played with CJ Stroud at Ohio State. So they're buddies. But here's his snap percentage for Cade Stover for the season: 19, 23, 28, 32, 35, 52, and then 48. So literally it was going up each week. It went down a little bit this week, but he's floating around 50% snap share. If he kind of starts to slowly take that job from Dalton Schultz, maybe, probably not, but it's possible. Or if something happens to Dalton Schultz, who just really hasn't been that impressive, they could potentially move on to the young guy here. Darnell Washington is another tight end who played in a lot of snaps. Now, I assume Darnell Washington's rostered on most leagues because he's a former 3rd-round pick just 2 years ago, and usually dynasty owners are savvy and they keep up with that type of stuff and they don't drop these guys. But 4 targets, 4 catches for 36 yards. He's played over 50% of the snaps since week 3, had a season high in week 6 of 73%. They could be using him more. He's just a talented blocker, talented player, going to catch the ball, catch passes. So that's someone I want to be rostering if he's out there. Will Dissly is another one, potentially. I think he was picked up a lot when he went to the Chargers, but Hayden Hurst has kind of been phased out a little bit. And Will Dissly had 11 targets, 8 catches, and 81 yards. So I don't exactly know. I think Hayden Hurst might have an injury, if I remember correctly. I don't keep up with it too much. He was inactive. Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, he had a groin injury. Those could linger, especially for older players like Hayden Hurst. So Will Dissly could be a start. If he's going to get 11 targets, he's absolutely a must start. So he needs to be picked up. AJ Barner, another rookie who is getting more playing time as the season progresses. He's up there in Seattle, in case you didn't know. 2024 rookie, went to Indiana and Michigan, played at Michigan on their championship, national championship team, 4th-round pick. So pretty good draft capital. His snap percentage has been going up. It's been fluctuating, but 48% week 1, 36, 28, 29, 26, 31, back up to 40. So, we're seeing him float around that 40% snap share. I don't think he's going to take anything away from Noah Fant, who I think has actually been pretty good this year, surprisingly. Just someone to keep an eye on for maybe 2025 and beyond. And then finally, Julian Hill is our last guy here. He is the backup, or he's the 2nd tight end for the Dolphins. Kind of a talented pass catcher out of Campbell. So a smaller school. He was definitely a project, but he's 6'4", 250, super athletic. They like him in Miami, and he's also been playing 50% of the snaps or so. Obviously, Johnny's getting a lot of the targets, but do they want to kind of work in Julian Hill a little bit more, who maybe can be a little bit more dynamic? Maybe. So that's the Dynasty waiver wire for you this week. Appreciate you all. Help us get to 700 subscribers. We're 4 away, trying to get there before the end of the month. So appreciate everyone watching, and I will catch you all in the next video.